Spiral Valley. It's a bit of a weird one. An odd egg. So Tempires playing as Greeks, spawning at the bottom side in the green trunks on Sparta. EKA playing as Kellys, as Celts. On the top side of the map, going for hunting dogs now. Tempires, you're going to see a hunting dogs here. Wonder if he's going to go for it. What's going on, Tempires? Oh, I don't think he realizes he hasn't actually rallied his TC. It'll hurt a little bit. Not a huge amount though, that's only about 10 seconds of gathering. Single bill though, so it's not going to kill him. So yeah, double storehouse openings ahoy here. And we haven't actually got our hunting dogs here for Tempires, so EKA down score at the moment, but eventually his gather rate will actually pull him ahead slightly. And being Celts, he's investing in houses a little bit earlier than his opponent. We actually saw game number 1 today, Eshwar tech straight to age 4 as Celts. Didn't really work out for him though. Smeagol able to take the game off him. So what's strange about that game between Eshwar and Smeagol is that Eshwar beat EKA 3-0. Smeagol beats Eshwar and then loses to EKA. How does that even happen? So we got, oh yeah, Smeagol. Sorry, not Smeagol. Tempires has taken hunting dogs now. A little bit slower than his opponent. So EKA slightly ahead on the gathering. This is a nice haul of goats here. I'd have to double check, but I'm not sure with Indians whether it's all herdables or just cows that they can't actually kill. And so they generate, I think it is all herdables, isn't it? But with Indians, if they task them to a shrine, it actually gives them gathers either wood or gold, depending on what the devs end up going with. So Bronze Age at 14 vils for EKA. Tempires up to 15 vils before aging. $15 vils to 14 in favour of Tempires though, so don't know if EKA got housed there or wasn't paying attention. I tend to do that. Tempires has done a wonderful job at getting just about every goat on the map. I know, there is a couple there for EKA. This map's actually got quite a few, so it's at 8 and then 2, 4, 6. I think they've got all of them. I don't think they've missed any on the map. So 16, no, 8 and 6, 14, sorry. 14 herdables on this map. That's pretty nice. It's a pretty big map though, if you think about it. Like the cliffs add so much walk time to actually get anywhere though. And resources are quite spread out. It's actually quite tough. Like, EKA doesn't really have anywhere to go here. Tempires has got to branch out with distant town centers as well. So EKA's actually going to go for close town centers here. This is an interesting decision on a map like this because it makes him really have essentially a free age 3 with the resources he's got here, but then beyond that, what does he do? He's going to have to go the third town center over here. If Tempires rushes him, I mean, well, not really a rush, but attacks him in age 2, then there's sort of not a lot he can do. Oh, Tempires going to try and Catch the goats. That player's still fighting over herdables. Ekka's gonna have to back off here. He's not gonna lose the scout, I don't think. Yeah, no, he's gonna get out there, but he is gonna need to actually invest in healing ointment. It's not a big investment, but... Oh, pick his gloves here. Okay, never mind. I forgot. Celt's OP. So... he will be able to just use Sacred Deer for a nice food source. Although he's going to want to pull them closer than that. Like, ideally, he's just going to rally it straight on top of the storehouse, or more right next to it, because you want room for all the villagers to get around it. But you want to have as little walk time as possible. Tempires going for a range first. EKA sitting back. I think he's going to work towards age 3 before he does anything here. So we're seeing a lot of this with our Celt play today. Why make military when you can just get age ups? Man, those trees look so cool when they fall. Did you guys see that? I thought that was sick. Oh, there's another one. Man, this game is so high detail, high definition, bro. So Tempires is just making Tox at this stage. He's going to need to get his first house at some point here. It's at 40 pop. Oh, and Sari's on the way. Yeah, so he's housed for a moment. Ekka's just definitely going straight towards age 3 here. In fact, he's got too many houses to be going just towards age 3. I don't know if he's going straight to age 4, but it's possible he's going for something similar to what his brother did in the first game of the series that cost him the game against Smeagol. Oh, okay, so he's cancelled that because I think he realised... Oh, would he have a spot behind it? Yeah, I think there is a gap there. But they get stuck. And on top of that, I don't know if he actually wants to commit to a range just yet. He needs more wood for houses for his age 4 if that's what he wants to do. Or at least to use for stables as well. They'd be a really versatile unit. Like, at the moment, none of these units trade well against Celt Horsemen or Norse Horsemen. Oh, the Rhino's even going to deal some damage. And range just don't have a lot of health. So it's a big cost. Like in terms of health to resources. If they're tanking damage like that. Like something like the Sari. I mean, they're a more expensive unit than the Tox. But they've got, like, over triple the health pool. So, you know, they double their, what was that? 55 resources to 105. So just under double the cost. And over triple the health. So each bit of health there is worth a hell of a lot less on the Saris. And on top of that, they've also got really nice armor against something. Bowman units have terrible armor against everything. Tempires moving out here. His age 3 on the way. Ekka's finished his age 3 and he's going for an early stables. This is... Oh, I think he should go for that. Just do it. Just do it. Do it. Risk it for the biscuit. And he will. He's going to get the kill. Denying the stables there. So that's really what Tempires wants here. To prevent the Celt player from spiraling out of control. Being able to take an age 4 in this position off a really defensive, really greedy opening. And just utilize Horsemen to basically force you to have to transition into like Prodromos or Hoplites or both. So Tempires is age 3. Well, he's not going to see the third town centre, not going to be able to prevent it. But at the same time, once he gets a couple more vills here, he may just be able to back off. And, oh, he leaves him alive with very little health. Leaves her alive, sorry. August there to heal, so... What's that? Damara. Reduces training time of everything. So villagers shitting out faster. Military spinning out faster. Tempires trying to go for it with this mainly anti-ranged comp here, but basically focus down that villager. Is going to need to get a couple of hoplites or prodromos in the mix though, because those horsemen are eventually going to make this really sticky for Tempires. He is ahead in overall population at the moment. He's down on villager pop, but this third TC for EKA is quite isolated. So if Tempires can keep maybe not going for this, because he is starting to really lose a bit of army trying this at this stage. EKA's just about baiting him with this because he's got the auger there to heal. You can get a bit more melee in here. I think Tempires can siege this town center of EKA's before EKA can really push him off. But trying to fight under here with the double town center stack is actually almost impossible. It's an extra 30, what's that? 35 damage and 34 range. Basically another tower there. And unlike a tower, you can't just tear it down. They're so tanky. But there is so little melee in this composition here. So these horsemen are actually great tanks for this. There's a villager in the mix. I'm not actually sure why. Oh, siege workshop perhaps? Or forward stables. It's an interesting decision here from Tempires though, because he hasn't really checked these resources to see what's going on, and he's only just going to find out about the Age 3 town center now. So Tempires, it's a long way for him to reinforce, and he hasn't got a lot of melee here, but maybe he's got enough hoplites here. He's run out of saris though, so he's having to use the Toxotes to actually focus down the bowmen. In fact, he's also got some Peltas in the mix, and I think he has been trying to control them. The villager in the mix too. Warrior villager. Unfortunately, she's not able to turn the tide of battle. Sorry, Joan of Arc, but try again in a couple of 100 years. So Tempires gonna... Oh, we're not seeing a garrison there, but... these gold gatherers be under a bit of threat as well. EKA's not going to panic though. He's not going to rush in here because there's a lot of health on this town center. He's got a bit of time before he has to commit to an engagement here. And Tempires, with his units all split up like this, he's going to lose a couple for free here. He's fighting under the town center, so ultimately he is taking damage as this fight goes on. That forward stables... not been the best of ideas because it was scouted straight away there by EKA. So Tempires is going to lose that. Now, I think this push from him is starting to slow down a little. He's on his third, or adding his third town center now, so he's been trailing on TCs a little bit. 16 villager gap here at 69 Keck to 53. But the raid here... it's going to get spotted, going to take a bit of damage, but Prodromos, one of them stuck behind the hoplite. He's not able to chase very well. But Tempires is just going to let it go, which could be a terrible decision because he needs to finish this town center. If EKA spots this, it could really... ooh, EKA's not going to see it, so he is a little bit lucky with that. It's a calculated decision. EKA's going to double back and clean up the gold mine, and I don't know if he sees it just yet. So the TC is going to finish. Prodromo is actually faster than the horseman, but not when the hoplite body blocks them like that. 9 speed to 9.5. Couple of units here of Tempires getting picked off, and now he's a little gold starved, so he definitely needed to stay on this gold mine while he was adding that town center as well. Right now he can actually bring some of these food villages off and put them on another gold mine. EKA being killed on this map, not a bad idea because he does have the benefit of being able to use gold mines as well as storehouses. So the gold mines will, although they cost a bit more, a bit of an insurance policy, help keep your villages alive. Take longer to actually clear them off. Horsemen fighting in superior numbers there, so they're actually able to win these fights against a unit that they should be... now with the hoplites in the mix, with Prodromos it's a bit different, but the Tempires ultimately able to clean all this up. Whoa, the range! Holy! Speared from halfway across the earth. He threw that from Africa to Australia, holy shit. So Damara being used a couple of times here by EKA. He's quite a formidable Celt player. Not worrying about adding any more villages. He's up to 87, so once you sort of get into the high 80s, low 90s, most builds it sort of gets to a point where you're mainly focusing on just rounding out your army. You know, getting a bit more bulk of just about all the unit types. Just to be able to do what you want to do. It's a fairly mixed comp here. Pretty bowman heavy, but there's a little bit of everything. A fair good number of horsemen. A few woads to clean up the back line. There's even a few longswords there in the mix. Without the champ upgrade, but it's mainly just to fight hoplites. And the Hypaspis, they do have their champ upgrade though. So it's been a well-timed little push here from Tempires, but he's going to want to retreat and just try and bring EKA out of his base. Maybe try and hit elsewhere with Prodromos or set up workshops, because EKA's really starting to lock down segments of the map with walls everywhere. So Tempires trailing in population, 76 vills to the 87, and he's down 30 pop overall, so he's still actually trailing on army pop, and now that's not the sort of retreat he wants, with Wodes able to just take one big swing at his ranged backline there. Put him another 5 population down, just like that. Ooh, Tempires chased off. I don't know why he was on that wood over there, because like he's got all this wood everywhere all around his base. So, I mean, maybe he was setting up to go in the gold and then went, oh, I need more wood instead. I guess that's the reasoning for that. So EKA, only the Wodes engaging there, realizing if he brings everything, actually, this is a winnable fight for him. Although Tempires, given the Vil gap, I think the army sizes are actually pretty neck and neck here. And upgrades, our players don't have a huge amount of upgrades. Tempires actually leads on upgrades. EKA has no upgrades. But at the same time, that unit mass, it's just excelente. He just needs to start getting armory upgrades. EKA, where is your armory? Did you forget about it? He's got 2 of them and he's not using them. He's saving for age 4, I think. But he's struggling with the gold. That half engaged, not faring so well for him. Tempires, pretty even ground in terms of the army size, and again, does lead in terms of upgrades. EKA, just now getting scale mail and barbed arrows. Tempires, does he only have the 1 armory? The Wode's going to take a nice angle here, going to get straight on the back line. Well, I don't know if there was a lot of Saris there in the mix. Oh shit. Sorry guys. Oh, but the front line for EKA's pretty much collapsed here. So everything's on top of the bowman here of EKA. So Tempires is seemingly holding on here. He's got so much army actually sitting out of the fight at the moment, and he's still going fairly evenly here. So army size, population counts definitely all swung towards Tempires. EKA, this is a good market spot he set up for himself. Adding in even more walls. This map is starting to look like Verhoover versus Verhoover, with the amount of defensive stuff going down. I don't say that as like a big insult either. Like, Verhoover's defensive game is just amazing. Like, if you're not paying attention to the map, after about 18 minutes, the whole map is just going to end up covered in walls, and you're going to have nowhere to put your market, You're not going to know which side of the map he's got his on, and you know, things like that. It's just crazy, man. It's cray. So potentially double caravan production, but EKA's being a goober and is overqueued. Upgrades finishing off. So double armory, I think, is paying off now, considering upgrades is pretty much even footing now. No player's got age 3 upgrades. They've both got all their age 2 upgrades. Tempires putting EKA in an uncomfortable position here, though. Because he's sitting on top of his houses and some of his production. He can get some of these buildings down and pick off units that are just freshly training. EKA not really wanting to take an engagement just yet. And now he's actually having trouble staying ahead of his population count with his pop cap. Going to bleed a couple of buildings. Eventually this does get harder and harder for Tempires to keep pushing because he'll have to start fighting under town center. But if he can kill a couple of farmers, take out a couple more houses, he can start swinging the game his way. But now he may have overstayed his welcome. Got a lot of Prodromos there in the mix. Not a huge amount of woads for EKA anymore. Both our players very defensive. Tempires, if he finishes this wall off, he'll actually have control of a lot of EKA's market line there. Very sneaky of EKA. I don't know if Tempires actually realizes that. Oh no, he can see it. But our player's so fixated on making sure they have a good engagement here, and oh, this isn't going to be a good engagement for Tempires. He's not paying attention. The ranged... There we go. He's actually brought everything together. It's much better for him. I was going to say, without all those Toxotes picking everything off from the back, it just really would have been a terrible fight for Tempires. He needs to have the Peltas focusing down the Bowman, though. The Sari's actually focusing down the Bowman really well, but the front line now for EKA's been putting in a lot of work here. There's not a lot left of a front line here for Tempires, but overall he's thinned out the ranged ball now with those Saris. But again, without a real front line, a big flood of woads could actually clean this up. Tempires, I think, is overextending a little bit here. Because, yeah, the woads have now broken through. Woads and horsemen not susceptible to the damage of these guys and are very, very good at cleaning them up. So Tempires having to back off there. A lot of walls here for EKA, so you can tell he's been playing against Verhoover or Ares because of the way that he's able to just wall off so well. Set up so well for late game. The woads cleaning up. Tempire struggling a little bit with wood and food at the moment, but he has plenty of gatherers on both. EKA actually could go for age 4 here. He has the resources. Oh, he needs the stone. I suppose he doesn't really want to buy stone, because buying resources is never great, because you are having to spend more than you're getting back out of it. Although I think he just did anyway, spend a little bit of food, or spend a little bit of gold. Tempires taking a fight he didn't really need to go in for, because EKA's now had age 3 upgrades finish, and Tempire's own age 3 upgrades, oh, he's got some of them. But I think he's going to want to get to the stage where he's got Gastrophedes. Because Greek late game is amazing. Gut late game's pretty good too. It's very mobile, very hard to deal with, but Greek late game is the ultimate death ball when you've got Gastros, either Hippicons or Prodromos, and ballistas, it's very, very hard to deal with. Even hoplites, just because of that backline, if the hoplites are there just to keep an anti-ranged cavalry off the gastras or something. So EKA's wanting to get a bit more control of the map down here, but Tempires is well aware he doesn't have this walled off anymore. That gold mine really has not been touched all game. So I think EKA's a little bit lucky to get away with that. And the Peltas actually focusing down the bowman. Good number of hyper champion though. That's going to be a big counter to that massive amount of woads. Woad champions on the way. So that area damage on the charge will be really big. And now we're fighting on a double town center, so EKA, having lured Tempires back into his base, I think this could be a favourable fight for EKA now, and Tempires, judging by the score, I think he's starting to run out of steam here. EKA building up an insane amount of resource bank, just struggling for wood and stone at the moment, but Tempires basically nothing in the bank while he's going to age 4 here, and he's only at 165 pop, but EKA's under 150 now. He has the resources to sustain this though, so I think that's going to be his big advantage here, and he's getting some age 4 upgrades now. If you can have those kick in before his opponent, that'll be huge. Right of Damara once again being popped, so the train time right. I think this has been casted 3 or 4 times over the course of this game. So it's definitely been EKA's most useful right this game. But not everything's fighting here. Maybe this is deliberate. He's just massing up the woads. Now that they've got champion, they're actually a formidable foe against even melee units because of their splash attack. But Tempires is continuing to push here. He's somehow got that critical mass of Tox where it's going to take committing with a large amount of woads or carpentums to actually finish this off. But oh, there we go. Tempires, the army just gets deleted. Everything's just been neutralized in a matter of seconds. So for a second there, I thought that was starting to swing Tempires' way, but once you have that 25 woad mass against the 18 or 20 or so Toxotes, it's over. Tempires age 4 now, and he's going to be pushing forward with an army, but EKA's maxed in the meanwhile. 103 villages, 1 billion woad raiders, and a tiny number of horsemen. The tower creeping here has been a good idea from EKA, I think. He's managed to actually really clear out of berries, clear out the gold. Tempires has transitioned to his market here, but I think he might have actually... How far are they going? Are they going all the way to the first one? I think he only needs to go to this one. I think he has to go all the way. But yeah, the towering from EKA just been very helpful in helping him secure the map. Tempire still has this place to actually shoot up through. And there's another gold mine there of EKA's he could get on top of, but now he's just putting more effort into pushing. Although there's that many woads, I don't know if he's going to be able to stick around long here. Tempire is having to get Toxotes and, Gastrophetes and Hypers, but does he have enough? So not a huge amount of damage being dealt to EKA there. He needs to add a couple of houses. Tempire still actually needs to get his 4th town center somewhere. He's towering up here just to prevent some sort of push here. A lot of towers he's going for now. What is this tiny map? We're going to see a villager garrison here, hopefully. Are we? Oh, no. I was going to say, if we did, that'd be sick. To see some, like, tiny level micro of villages. Not going to happen though. Tempires is going to lose his villagers that are training, that are building this tower. Oh, he's just going to focus down the villagers, so... There, we do have some tower micro going on. This stage though, battering rams, with that many woads, battering rams aren't going to be of any use. I think you need to maybe get 1 or 2 ballista. And otherwise have... Ooh, maybe not even hypers, maybe just Hippocon Gastra. Hypers are cheap, but Hippocons, much more well-rounded unit. Slightly faster, a lot more health. Just have more stats scaling into the late game. So even though these guys have champion, even though they've got the age 3 upgrades, well, the Hippocons are also going to benefit from the same upgrades. Oh, Rite of Radis being popped, so this will help EKA take down structures. Woads are going to do a great job at clearing through Tempire's walls and even picking off some of these outlying farms. The town center is going to fall pretty quickly here. So Tempires, the pressure's on. How much damage can he get done with his Hypaspists? And with the charge from the Woads, I think these guys don't have a great amount of health left after a charge. The town center's going to fall. Tempires in the meanwhile hasn't really dealt any damage. He's actually having the Hypers try and focus down the TC, which I think is bad because it's actually prevented the Ram from getting straight on it. And EKA going to tear down a second town center. So both our players age 4. The town centers have got thousands upon thousands of health. So 13k health, and I think the Greek player can even take an upgrade to go even higher than that. Getting in amongst all the gathering there is probably not a bad idea, but EKA has an extremely good eco. Even though he's down to 84 vils, he has like 14k, 13k resources in the bank. Tempires overall has about 2k. So Tempires can't really afford to just keep remaxing this situation. Well, EKA can, and EKA actually playing quite careful, just relying on the fact that the Woad Ball's not being dealt with properly to actually just keep going. Sit back and play defensively with everything else. Just make sure you're not losing anything. Make sure the market line's protected. That's a pair of TCs of Tempires down now. He's adding a couple more. Actually, it's been 3 TCs down in total. And he's run out of stone now, so he's not going to be able to replace a fourth town center. So Tempires, in terms of putting together an army to clean this up, he's just sending things in willy-nilly, and it's just not working out for him here. And yeah, the Hypers, as good as they are, they're not as fast as Woads. They're not really the proper counter. Hippocons is what he's going to be needing at this stage. And Tempires doesn't have the gold to afford Hippocon champs, so I think these Woads are just going to run riot on his base. Down to 135 pop. EKA adding Horseman champ, adding Bowman champ, getting composite bow behind that, improving his market, getting fortified market, giving it that extra health and extra melee armor. So we got champion on the way in. Tempires. He's managed to rebuild over here quite well, but where do the caravans actually intend on going? It's a huge amount of distance for them to cover. I think that market line might have been actually too long there. So the Woads, a lot of them have actually been cleaned up, but I think it's mostly because EKA's been focusing buildings so heavily. Like, there's not really been a point where he hasn't been able to just fight off what he's up against with mass Woad. So again, especially because he's got that upgrade lead, he really, in order to deal with him, You need the Hippocons at this stage, or you need, well, Gastra's shielding, being shielded by Hypaspis. You can't really just use Tox Hypaspis. So things have been cleaned up here by Tempires, but it's an immense amount of damage. He's got nothing in the bank. He's barely over 100 population. EKA's not been struggling at all. But he's still putting together an army here. So these fully upgraded champions are going to be a bit of a pain to deal with here. EKA focusing down the tower instead of the units, so didn't actually go his way. I was going to be able to clean up a couple of these towers, but Mass Carpentum champion. Tempires is just checking out the map, seeing what he's got left. Bring these guys over here. He might be able to deal some damage to the market line, actually. Put a bit of pressure on. He's going to need that because right now, 22 villages to EKA, so he's deliberately deleted them all in order to just mass carbs. He should be able to do it here. These guys with their area damage. A lot of those villages being cleaned up there. Now EKA's thinning out Tempires Eco. Movement speed for the Carpentums. The 10 speed's gonna be hard to catch them with anything other than Saris. Tempires can't afford to just print out 40 Saris to deal with this. So he's gonna lose a lot of his economy here. So 61, he's already lost 20 villager population. Rudy Obus is... Man, I almost never see this right. So EKA's used basically every right this this game. It's very impressive stuff. Cleaned up a hell of a lot. So 53 eco, so about 30 army and about 30 villages have been cleared out by this already. Tempires push. Not really able to achieve much here. EKA, again, not a lot in the bank, but he's got the army that just can't be dealt with unless Tempires is able to get to the stage where he can, you know, gather a shitload and then just make 150 army units, 150 army pop. So EKA taking the game there on Spiral Valley.